This is Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand for Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. I'm Gary Dick. Indiana's hospitals are enduring financial challenges that threaten their ability to provide services across the state. That, according to a report just released by the Indiana Hospital Association. The report suggests that financial pressures related to Medicaid shortfalls and rising costs contributed to many hospitals operating below national average operating margins. IHA President Scott Tittle says the challenges are especially difficult for rural hospitals in Indiana.
When you hear about the strained resources that our hospital members are facing right now with the closing of OB units and potentially closing of hospitals in the future and consolidation, we're talking about access. And I think everybody's in support of access.
Steel Dynamics is reporting fourth quarter earnings that beat analyst expectations, though profit for the year dropped compared to 2024. The Fort Wayne-based company, one of the largest steel producers and metals recyclers in the United States, reported fourth quarter net income at $266 million, or $1.82 per share. Caitlin Clark is headed to the NBA, at least for a couple of nights. NBC has announced that Clark, the Indiana Fever superstar with an enormous following, is joining the network's pregame coverage for its debut of Sunday Night Basketball this weekend when the Lakers play the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. From the state's number one source for Indiana business news, you're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
Indiana lawmakers are moving forward with a bill involving the 10 Commandments in public schools, but not without controversy. The proposal cleared its first committee vote Tuesday after being significantly scaled back.
A bill that would require the 10 Commandments to be displayed in Indiana public school classrooms is now moving ahead in a softer form. House Bill 1086 advanced out of the House Education Committee on a party line vote after lawmakers removed language mandating classroom displays. Instead, the updated bill would add the 10 Commandments to Indiana's list of protected writings in education law. That list already includes documents like the U.S. Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and Frederick Douglass's famous 1852 speech. Schools would be required to keep a copy of the 10 Commandments in their libraries, but local officials would decide whether to display it elsewhere. Republican Representative Michelle Davis of Whiteland, the bill's author, said the change recognizes what supporters see as the document's historical significance, not religious instruction. Supporters argued the 10 Commandments help shape Western law and morality. Opponents warn the bill still blurs the line between church and state. The bill now heads to the full House for a vote expected later this week. Abriana Herron, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Greg Muse, a 1982 chemical engineering alum of Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, and his wife Elizabeth have donated $2 million to the school to establish an endowed scholarship program. Greg Muse is CEO of Penn Energy Resources and says he hopes to send a powerful message to future students, especially women pursuing technical fields. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.